While it's obvious to some that discriminating against somebody based on their race, religion, color, sexual orientation, or religion is wrong, the thing that we need to realize is that it's not illegal. A recent bill that they're trying to pass would allow employers to discriminate against sexual orientation while citing religious beliefs. To quote Thomas Jefferson, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So what are we missing here? How is it that after decades of marches, protests, civil and gay rights activism are we at this point in 2018? After all, didn't we just fight so hard so that we could have equal protection under the law, same-sex marriage, and the millions of other things that we like drag? Here to discuss discrimination in the country as well as the power of drag within the gay community is a fabulous drag entertainer, Wilhelmina Caviar, and LGBTQ advocate, Andrew Borgeson. Welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys coming onto the show. Okay, let's get right down to it. So the House Appropriations Committee on Wednesday passed an amendment allowing taxpayer-funded adoption agencies to deny LGBTQ families the ability to adopt a child based on religious objection. So how is this happening in 2018? Why are we here? It's insane. Your thoughts, please.
I'm just going to start off, and I just think that, I feel like we're moving back instead of stepping forward and just being better individuals and being kinder to one another. I don't agree with what's happening. I just think that, this is, we're supposed to be progressive and growing as individuals. And I think taking this step back is not really helping us.
Right.
And who is it to define, our race, our color, our gender, however we identify as to how we work as individuals? We're all human beings with feelings. And I think that regardless of how you identify yourself, as long as that you could do what your obligations are, what you're expected of at your workplace, that's what matters.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely agree. I also think that there's something to be said about, we're having this conversation about people being discriminated against in a government facility as far as adoption, okay? The same thing is happening with African American people, happening with Asian people. I mean, it's happening across the board. We are gay people, and we are fighting for our rights, but it's across the board, and it's just crazy that a government, a people, by the people, for the people, Democrats, Republicans, can actually pass a law that says that, oh yeah, it's okay to discriminate. Just based on your beliefs, you're able to step on somebody else's beliefs. Just because you have your beliefs, they have theirs, it's your God-given right to disagree with that, and refuse them to, have the option to have a child, to get married. I mean, where's the list going to stop?
Well, it's like the baker with the cake, right?
Yep.
I mean, they're somehow allowing your religious beliefs to dictate policy. And what I don't understand is, where is the separation of church and state? I feel like that's not happening at all. Mm-hmm. I mean, we are allowing people to use their religion to discriminate in a legal way.
Right.
And that's crazy to me,
right,
because I'm not an atheist, but I still believe that people should be able to express themselves religiously. And I don't understand how we are allowing people to discriminate. How is that happening right now? Why?
I love that you brought up the Thomas Jefferson quote, because he was somebody who's anti-federalist, who believed in the state governments as opposed to, being ruled by this almighty power, which we, now we're definitely thanking him for that. But, but I mean, it goes back to that same idea. Like, he is one of the people who also didn't want church and state. He wanted that separation. So where have we come where we have the Supreme Court who's upholding the Constitution, which specifically says difference between church and state? How is it that they are unable to uphold this when it comes to a law such as that was passed on Wednesday?
Right.
It blows my mind.
Do you think it's a Trump thing, or do you think this is something that would happen?
I think that Trump does have a big influence in this. Again, it's just that it just really breaks my heart to see that, with him being in the picture, and I think it influences a lot of people, and I think it allows maybe his supporters or who might have beliefs the same as or similar as his to think that this is okay. I think that, you know, with the president, we have an idea that like whatever our qualities our president embodies or shows or behavior, that's okay, and people follow that, and that's really what's heartbreaking to me is like that people can think that like even to this day, again in modern age, that people can act and treat others a certain way just because you're president or whoever it is that you voted for thinks that's you know okay.
But how do we fix this? Because I mean, starting from, let's just say the Starbucks arrest, or the barbecue, or the Airbnb situation, or the little girl trying to sell bottled water on the street. Where's the resolve is my question.
That's a really tough question to answer. I mean, the issue is you have a lot of different people thinking a lot of different ways. And one question that I would even pose to both of you, when I was young, when, 5 years old, kindergarten, just enough to understand like what's actually going on in the world, what a president is and that, exactly what Wilhelmina said. It's like you want to embody your president because in your mind, that's the most powerful person that that represents you, and you want to do that, and maybe your parents support them. I can tell you this, your parents, whether they're for or against, when you're a 5-year-old, they're going to break it down like a grain of salt. Like it's nothing what ends up happening later on in life. And you said that we were progressive. We want to progress. California is a very progressive state, whereas there's I say 50 other states. I'm including Puerto Rico. There's 50 other states that aren't as progressive as we are more progressive than we are. And that's the issue. Coming together as a people and understanding that civil liberties are being torn apart, that's something that our government has to handle, and hold people accountable for that.
Did you guys see the video of the girl trying to have just a picnic and she was wearing a Puerto Rico shirt, and the guy was like, "You can't be wearing that shirt in our country."
Yeah, and it'll be the next day.
Excuse me.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. I just can't believe it. It's unbelievable.
Or like like the clips of like like some of the African Americans going to the pool and being treated like, hey, I need to see your ID. You need to show verification that you even live in this neighborhood. I was like, how can you treat people like that? Like to this day, it's like just because it's how they look or what their race is.
Right.
And I think that again with Trump being the president, it really gives the people to think that, hey, that's okay.
It's validated all of those suppressed racist, bigoted feelings from these people, and so they feel like they are entitled and allowed to speak to people this way.
Right.
And I think the important thing to do is obviously call it out when it happens, push back, of course. But my big thing is a lot of people on the left, a lot of liberals anyway, refuse to sit down and have a conversation with anybody who is a Trump supporter or anybody who is conservative or religious. And the one thing I want to say, let's just have a conversation. Maybe it'll work. Maybe they can relate to you as a human being. Maybe not. Right. But it's worth a try, right? Like, what's just deleting them from your life going to do?
Right.
Like, that's not going to.
It's a very passive-aggressive way of handling it. Right. But the thing that it comes back to is just like, these are people, and somebody. I come from Georgia. It's a southern state. It's very bigotry. There's all sorts of downtown Atlanta. You won't see a single white person. If you go out to the country, you won't see a single black person. That's just the way it is. And the thing that is really, really strange about the Trump presidency is you have that crazy uncle who still uses the N-word, like
Papa John.
He's the one that who would believe that our country was like that? And come modern day, that that racist uncle is the one who's like, oh yeah, I told you Trump was going to be president, and yeah, you should watch out for black people.
Definitely.
And people listen to that, because there were some very fine people down there, beating these black people at a white supremacist rally. Very fine people on both sides.
It still exists. I was making fun of it because I thought it was funny, but the Papa John thing that just happened yesterday. And he resigned as CEO Papa John's because of this. I mean, people were calling him out, and of course, like, do it. You know what I mean? But people are paying attention. I mean, you have to be very, 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 very conscious of what you're saying, because we are a nation that is built. Well, it was built on the backs of, slaves and.
Right. I think people forget
indentured
that.
servants.
People forget.
Yeah.
People forget that we're not a holy country. But right now we are a melting pot, and we consist of many different types of races and religions and sexual orientations. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's one of the things that makes people want to come here, is that they feel like they can be free, which is what we fucking stand for.
Right.
But then you have people who try to, restrict that, and they try to, they're using their own religious beliefs, and it's disgusting. But at this point, I think it's very important for us to just stand together and continue to fight and vote. You have to fucking vote. You have to vote. November. Come November, please vote. I mean, it's so important.
Right. It really makes a big difference, like letting your voice be heard. Like, if you don't want things a certain way, like people, you need to have your voice be heard.
Yeah.
Because you might think like, oh, I'm just one person, I'm just a number. But really, if you think that, you could be that one person that can make that big difference and change the whole, bigger picture.
There is an old saying, it's the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Right.
And that's exactly how it is. The people who stand up and they say something and they fight for what they believe in, those are the people who get what they want.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can't complain if things turn for the worse. It's like, you have that this is an opportunity for us to make a change. And
these are absolutely opportunities for us.
This is an opportunity for us to make a change in our nation. And I think that, if you do not like how things are these days, you have that chance to have your voice be heard and make a change.
Definitely. Definitely.
Some have bigger voices than others.
Yeah.
Some don't even use voices. They just dance or lip syncing or
lip sync like me.
Like you.
That's
You
true.
don't want to hear me sing, so you don't want to hear me sing live. But.
Yeah, absolutely.
I heard it.
No, well, with that, I do want to talk about drag, because drag is, in my opinion, and I think it's a fact,
Shared.
is super important to the gay community. In fact, you can trace its roots back to ancient Greece, when it was very present theatrically. Not only in theater, but in many different aspects. In kabuki, which is a Japanese form of performance art, opera. The term was actually coined in the Victorian era, where performers would wear really long dresses that they would drag across the floor, and that's where the term was coined. Yeah. And so modern drag is a little bit different, obviously. So I want to talk about that within the gay community, because you are a performance artist, you are a drag queen, you are a drag entertainer. So why is drag, in your opinion, important to not only the gay community, but to all communities?
I think that, with drag, we really have come a long way. And, we have a really big influence in our own community. Again, I think that, the importance of it is that, this is a way for us to express ourselves. Like, we have very, different types of people that come from our own community. We have, like, the bears, the muscle guys, the twinks. This is another facet, like drag is another facet of our community. And I think people have a lot of misconceptions of what drag is, so that they think like, oh, well, you're just feminine guys that want to just dress up, or you want to be women, is a big misconception.
Like a transvestite?
Right. And then, not that there's anything wrong with transvestite.
Right.
Everyone, again, has their own thing that, that's your thing, and if that's your thing, great, definitely embrace it and enjoy it. Right, but for those that do drag, like for me, I enjoy, this craft of being able to, the transformation, being able to perform and entertain an audience, and being able to play dress up while getting paid. That's a lot of fun. So,
my perception of drag, has changed immensely. Coming into it, you do have that kind of predisposition where you're thinking that these women are, I call you women, but women are coming there because they feel feminine.
Right.
But, as I know a lot of you girls, and as I've learned, it's like you all come from a performing arts background. You all have a great passion and, self-care.
Right.
And they get their one chance to go on stage, or you sometimes give it to them, and it's like, wow, it really changes their lives.
Right. And then, like, a lot of us, including me, like, before drag, I was always kind of the introverted, quiet guy. And really drag helped me realize more about myself, where it's like, hey, I could be more confident. It's helped me become more confident as an individual, and also be able to express myself. And I never thought in a million years that, doing drag would help me realize that I have these qualities.
Yeah.
Right.
And, again, with drag, like, not everyone has to be feminine or, introverted or quiet, We all really come from all walks of life. Some of us, are more attractive, out of drag rather than in drag. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. And some of us may feel more confident or attractive when we're in drag. So again, we really just come from different facets of, of our community, for a better word. And we all do it for different reasons. Like, some of us enjoy have a theater background, may sing live, or some of us may enjoy being the artistic side of being able to do transformations. And that's where I'm coming from. I like being, I was always fascinated with makeup, and I thought, well, with drag, makeup plays a big part in your role, and that's what got me into drag.
Right. When I first moved to California from Arizona, which is like a really red state, and I was raised very religiously, I first started to go to the Boom Boom Room, and I would stand by the DJ booth because I was just super shy, and there was a drag show, and the drag queens would start to talk to me, and seeing them in drag and seeing them do what they do made me feel like I could actually come out and be myself and do whatever I wanted. I could wear whatever I wanted. I could, I could be me. And that's what drag kind of represents to me is freedom. Like, you can, when you're dressed up in drag, which I'm not even gonna call it drag because that would not be, it felt like I was free. I have always felt an immense respect for the drag community, and it's one of those things where if I wish I could do drag, I can't. I can't do drag. I'm not, I don't have that talent, but it's a beautiful thing to me, and I wish people would realize like how important it is to our community. And there's certain bars that will embrace that and support that. And you work at a few different of those venues, and I want you to talk about where you work, when you work there, and to get people to go there too, to support you.
Yeah, so like like Andy just said, like with drag, we do work at very many different venues. I'm from Orange County, but I do work with at venues in West Hollywood, in Long Beach, in LA, here in my hometown in Orange County, in Laguna Beach. Here in Orange County, I am a part of a drag brunch at Mozambique. And a few times during the month, I also work at the Velvet Lounge in downtown Santa Ana, at the Boom Boom Room occasionally when they are open during the holidays. And whenever they are open, they've been very welcoming to me and having me and bring me to entertain, as well as a few other entertainers.
That's great. So what nights are you at Velvet?
So I'm at Velvet usually. I do partake in some of the dinner shows, so that falls within between Thursday and Sunday. Whenever we have they need a backup, I'm an understudy for the dinner show. I also do the brunches there, so on Saturdays and Sundays you can catch me there. At the Boom Room again, several times whenever they have an event.
Right.
And then at Mozambique a few times during the month, sometimes either on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Yeah, like we'll be there this Saturday, which is the 14th.
Right.
From 11 to 2, and
Right.
then we'll be there on Sunday the 29th from 11 to 2 as well, which G-Licious is hosting graciously, so we're super excited about that.
And that is a cowboy themed on the 29th?
Well, so it's gonna be yeah. I am gonna have to go shopping because
I will be there the whole day on the 29th. So expect to see me for the brunch, and then after I'll be working the cowboy theme night that they're having, which is again really great for Orange County as a whole, because when you look at the drag shows that we have here, or like even events that invite the LGBT community, it's not as big as it is like when you compare it to Long Beach, Inland Empire, or maybe LA. So the fact that we're expanding and we're having these events to cater to our community really is great to have that, because again, our community here in Orange County, it's not as big as those other areas I mentioned.
Right.
So to be able to show that, hey, we have events going on and invite our community, that really makes me feel good. And to be a part of that, of these events, it feels really good and rewarding to be a part of it.
I also agree with you, and I want to say that, living in Laguna Beach, it's really, really nice seeing the other restaurants and other businesses other than the gay-owned businesses.
Right.
And some of these are gay-owned businesses, don't get me wrong, but performing in a bar and then for a couple of years, and then from there seeing you blossom and still working at that bar and working at other events locally in Laguna Beach, like that speaks, as an advocate for the LGBT community, like that speaks volumes. And it shows actual evidence of a growing community within Laguna Beach. And for anybody to want to stop that, it's really discouraging. So I'm happy that these other businesses are keeping that going. Well-run businesses.
Yeah, definitely. And what's really cool is that there are, we're in a place, and we are kind of sheltered in Southern California. Like, let's be honest. Like, there's lots of places in this country where people aren't as welcome, and the gay community is shunned, and drag queens are frowned upon. But here, we're lucky, and I want to acknowledge that. Like, I feel very, very, lucky to be able to be here. And the fact that there are venues all over the place, straight, gay, whatever, that will welcome us is an amazing thing. I love that. I mean, I first started coming here, and I started working with Chad Michaels at the Boom Boom Room.
Yeah.
One of my favorite drag queens ever. I got to know Morgan McMichaels a lot. I'm just super and a fan. And then, of course, I went to Tucson, and I worked with this drag queen her name was Diva, which is otherwise known as Tatiana Blanco, Janae Starr, China Collins, Wilhelmina Caviar. Like, I've met some amazing drag queens, and I'm like I said, I'm a huge fan. I can't say enough good things about people who can put themselves out there and really, they're representing, even though they're drag, it's representing us as a community.
Right.
We're all a part of this. It's a huge thing. So yeah, I'm lucky to be to have been exposed at an early time in my life to drag, because it helped me a lot just to feel comfortable in my own fucking skin.
Yeah.
Right.
So
yeah.
Drag is huge for me, because I feel like I agree with you. I feel like the gays have fashion, and we have the movie industry and all these different things, but I feel like our art form, that, like, if millions of years from now, future humans that no longer procreated, they just, divided, they would look back and say, oh wow, there was this culture of people who had this beautiful art, and it wasn't that they were fooling people, but it was so good that they could.
Right.
And, that's something that I hear a lot from, like, straight patient, or straight clients, we'll call them straight clients, is, wow, that's a really pretty lady. And I go, yeah, absolutely. Why don't you talk to her out back,
Yeah.
And then I say, Ava Stone, we got to go inside now. That's enough.
It's enough. No, maybe don't scare them.
Right.
Stay in the dark. No, yeah, and I think too with drag is that, like, some of us are illusionists, where we maybe create illusions of characters that we see in film and movies or whatnot, and then some of us may look fishy. When we call fishy, it's like, in drag terms, that's like looking passing as an identical woman,
Which people refer.
Yes.
They call you the fishiest.
Yes. So when they say fishy, it's not like you smell like a fish, but Nomi B might smell like a fish after doing brunch all day. But when you refer fishy, we love Nomi B. But fishy is like looking like a passable woman. And again, with drag, there's a lot of different. Just in the world of drag, there's different facets of drag.
Yeah.
You have the comedy camp queens. You have the fishy girls that could look passable. You have the comedy queens. You have the voguing queens or the pageant girls.
Right.
There's a
You have the
lot.
shock queens.
Right. There's
Just scared. Like,
Right.
oh my God, is that a beard? And what? Huh?
exactly, like they want
Right.
to cause that shock, and that's the reaction that they want. So there's a lot of areas of drag, and I think people need to see that. And I think too that with drag, this is an extension of that person.
Right.
You know, again, like with me, I'm very introverted out of drag, but I feel like drag, you know, when I'm on stage hosting or I'm performing, that is an extension of me outside of drag.
Right.
Like a more, what do you call this? Like over the top side of me that, you know, I'm able to express.
What's
through drag.
art? I mean, this is an art form.
Right.
It really is. And
Yeah.
one thing that a lot of people don't know is that drag is not cheap.
It's not.
You spend way more than you actually earn when you do drag. So this is
Right.
something you have to be passionate about.
Right.
And really love to do.
You have to be very passionate about it, and you have to invest in it. If you want good drag, you have to invest good money. That doesn't mean that you have to buy the most expensive hair or outfit or, you know, buy the name brand makeup. It's all about making it work. I've seen girls that have bought things from Big Lots or the 99-cent store, and they've made it work on stage. You wouldn't think that they bought it from those stores. So again, it's not cheap, but it does add up. So, you know, what I would say is that, you know, when you're at a drag show and you're seeing that girl, give them $1 or a couple of dollars. That's to tip them, because, you know, for some of these girls, you know, and I know a lot of them, but drag is their main source of income.
Right.
You know, I'm lucky that I do have a job outside of drag that pays me full time, but for a lot of these girls, this is just their income, and the money that they make at that night, sometimes it's not enough more, you know, they're worth more than that.
Yeah.
And
Some of these girls don't get paid. I mean,
Right.
When bars have covers, a lot of times that money is not going to the performer.
Mm-hmm.
And even when, you know, you do have bars that don't offer covers for a drag show, chances are, you know, if it's a great show, tips with the ladies. They
Yeah.
deserve it.
right, we get
You could have sat in your room drinking your drink, looking at nothing. Show
Right.
low appreciation. Right?
yeah,
Definitely.
Right.
you know, they got ready, they did their makeup, they got
drove
dressed,
from
they drove,
In their makeup, in
their
this
makeup.
Yeah.
hot bar.
right.
Right.
Like,
There's a
or
lot
wherever it
that
is.
there's a lot to take into into which
Wherever
bar?
else it is.
Wherever the bar is.
Right.
But you know, like really my thing is my advice to you is if you've never been to a drag show or if you're gonna go back to see a drag show, support your girls. Tip them.
Yeah.
Give them lots of love.
Yeah.
We really love your energy. But we also enjoy money. You know, again,
Keep them coming back
like
every
energy,
week,
yeah.
and they'll keep
Yeah.
the guests coming back.
Right.
And, you know,
and you know, come out and support us. Even if the girls, and I do want to make a point of like the local girls versus the RuPaul girls that made it. I
Right.
think this is a very important thing, and even the Ru girls have said this. Come on, support your local girls.
Yeah.
Like cheer for them, live for them as much as you live for those RuPaul girls, because
Right.
really those girls that have made it on RuPaul's Drag Race, I'm really proud of every single one that have made it there.
Right.
Made a career out of it. But just remember, at the end of the day, they were once that local girl.
Yeah.
But they didn't think they would probably have made it on RuPaul's Drag Race, and now they made it. So you never know who's gonna make it in the upcoming seasons. Maybe me if they want me, but they wouldn't want me. Gross.
Or we're done.
No, just kidding.
Are you kidding
But
me?
come
cut,
out.
we'll cut that out.
I'd be Tim Woolley all the way.
But come out and support your local girls just as much as you would come out and support, you know, those Ru girls that may be visiting your bar or your venue.
Right.
The way I like to look at it is you know, you're promoting the arts, and if you're going to DragCon or you're going to, you know, Comic-Con or something like that, and supporting, you know, the big things, you know, those people have fans, and
Right.
they're happy that you're fans, but your local drag queen is also their fan and
Yep.
looks
Right.
up to them and aspires to be them.
Right.
So why not invest that time in
Right.
your local your pub,
Right.
or, you know, Mozambique, or
I like how you combined bar and pub. Par.
Par.
I like
your
that.
local bar.
Yeah, I really like
Yeah,
heard it here
and then with
first.
DragCon too, I've been going to the Los Angeles DragCon ever since they had it. And you know, it's just crazy to see like people that you interact with online that you wouldn't think in a million years you would ever meet, and be like, oh my god, I'm a big fan. I was like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of like when I hear that, I don't ever get that to my head, but it's just like something in me is just like, oh my god, like someone's watching me,
Right.
You know, or like someone enjoys my work, and to me that's rewarding because I know that not only like, hey, this is fun to get dressed up to perform and to talk shit on the mic, like who doesn't like that, But like to be like, hey, someone admires your work and actually recognize like, hey, there is effort and a lot of time put into this.
Yeah.
It really feels rewarding.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know, I've DJ'd so many drag shows, starting from when I was at the Boom Boom Room, and it's not just someone watching you. There's a lot of people watching you and respecting you and looking up to you. I'm one of those people. It's a lot of work, and so I think that it's amazing, and I love what you do. I truly respect it, and there are venues and bars out there that respect you and deserve for you to be there.
Yeah.
And so, you know.
Yeah, and you just have to find that right venue or that right bar owner or manager that really understands
and knows what they're doing.
Knows what they're doing,
Yeah.
Understands your community, and not just preaches about being, you know, inclusive of, you know, the LGBT community. It's about really understanding who your patrons are, who your clientele are, and really be like, hey, I want to be there for you. I want to be a support system for you, or I want this place to be a safe haven for you where you can be yourself.
Yes.
Invite your friends and not feel like you have to act any different than what you are.
Absolutely.
That's exactly why they call it the service industry.
Right.
It's because you're providing a service for others.
Right.
I mean, you want to fill your pockets, that's second best. What you're really looking to do, and if you know your clientele really well, I always pride myself in knowing my clientele really well and knowing exactly what they want when they want it. And if this is what they want, and this is...
And the money will come automatically.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's just a result.
And good business owners do that. So
Right.
I'm really proud of you and finding great places to work and the future.
And you
I
get to
mean,
help
holy moly,
me, you know, meet people and connect me with people. I think it's really just, I think if you have, at the end of the day, if your intentions are good and you have people's best interests at heart, you know, it will all fall into place. And again, like Andy said, money, you know, even though it's important, it is important to all of us because we can't live without money.
Right.
But I think that once you find that venue and you get connected with those people that genuinely care about you and your community, the money will just come in. I met Andrew when he was a bartender, and I think that's just how we I don't think we even had to try hard to be like, oh, I want to be friends with him. It was just kind of all fell into place. The same with Andy. It's like you just click.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. It's like, you know.
It wasn't the $20 bill I gave you?
Yeah, it wasn't the $20 bill because I do want to clear this up. It's going to be uploaded. He never gave me a $20 bill. So he gave me a $2 bill. I thought it was a $20 bill. It looks, $2
$2 bill and 12 inches.
Yes, 12 inches. That didn't exist. But
the $2 bill did.
yes,
All right.
the $2 bill existed. But again, really it's just like really support your girls. Follow them on their social media. Again, Rude Girls are not follow them on their social media. We'll remember you. It might take us a few moments to remember your name. But you know what? When you continue to come out and support us, we'll remember you and we'll remember the face, and we really appreciate it. Like, a show would not be possible, again, without like the DJ or the bartenders, the staff at the bar. But really what makes a show are the people, the clientele, the patrons that come back and see the show. And again, people will see like that you're a good person. You know, even though you are playing a character on stage, they could see past that, and they know that like, hey, that's a good person. I want to be friends with her. I want to follow where she's going or where he's going.
Right. No, I completely agree. Well, you know, I think that this was a great show.
Aww.
I really am so glad that you guys came on. I've been wanting you guys to come on for a minute.
Yeah, Andy's been trying to get me.
Yeah.
And we got here early.
And they got here on time.
I got here on time.
They were on gate time, which means on time. I do want to thank you, Andrew Borgeson, for coming on Wilhelmina Caviar. I am going to post links below to both of their social media websites, and you can follow them. You can check out Wilhelmina's shows. She posts all the time because she is the fishiest.
And we're very happy Mozambique has opened their doors, you know, to welcome us. And again, really, a lot of businesses in Laguna, like, you know, you wouldn't think that these businesses would be open to catering to our community, but there are. And
2018.
Yeah, it's 2018.
It's the way we're going.
And Mozambique is the company I work for, so
right.
even better. That's all in the family.
Right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. This has been Hot Fuss. I'm Andres. Join us next time.
Adios, Andres.
Bye.